Siddharth Zarabi, economic policy expert, and Parvez Damania continue to be with us. Siddharth, I want to come to you first. Has the government delivered on its promise of completely revisioning Indian economy? Some of the sectors which, as Abhishek was saying, were becoming den of inefficiency, the shackling of some of the sectors from the time when India did not have enough capacity, all of those are being systematically looked at. What would you say about the reforms, the special reform approach that has been announced today?
Well, I have been covering the Indian policy making space now for almost 22 years as a working journalist all my life. And currently, I would like to say that some of the boldest and most difficult decisions have been taken and announced today. Let me just give you 2 or 3 examples. One is coal mining for the commercial sector. Coal India was not just a monopoly, but
Right.
it was a deeply politically infested monopoly. West Bengal is one state that I can mention, along with Bihar, parts of Odisha, where deeply entrenched political interests, including first the left and then subsequently other political alignments, have in the past, under the garb of workers' rights, managed to boost and prop a very inefficient coal production company by allowing commercial mining. And I must tell you that one of the initial proposals in this regard had actually come up in 2003, 17 years back, under the then late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government. The Manmohan government could not do it for 10 years because within the cabinet there were deep divisions, and there were people within the Congress party who had consistently opposed this, opposed FDI in insurance, in pension, and also in defense production. So I would say that when you take a summary call of what has been done today, it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi coming back into that avatar, really, if I may put it that way, where he says, where he is showing that he will not shy away from tough political calls, including GST and RERA in the past. So I personally think that the signaling effect of these proposals, where investments will take a medium term to fructify, are massive, are huge, and are deeply commendable. And at the deepest moment of a crisis is when you reach inwards and decide to pull yourself out of that morass. I think what the government today has done is that it has pulled the Indian economy and signaled it to come out of a morass created by the COVID crisis.
Absolutely. I think a lot of criticisms, Siddharth, was coming the government's way that it was too socialist, and that is perhaps not something a BJP government is known for. But as Abhishek was also rightly saying, there is a balance of socialism and capital economy that the government has to manage. And I think today's is precisely what we were waiting for, because when Prime Minister spoke 4 days ago, the expectation was that the Indian economy is not going to be the same, is not going to function the same way, and big bang reforms are going to be announced. So you are giving the government a thumbs up as far as those measures are concerned. What about the airspace liberalization? You know, there is a question that is being asked whether the government should handhold airlines in India, give them some doles directly, or whether the measures announced today will help Indian airlines to just expand and ramp up their business and become more efficient, because some of the measures actually are going to help them in cost cutting. So where do you stand on that?
Well, there are 2 ways to look at it. I would request all your viewers, and you asked a very smart question, honestly. Your viewers and all the guests on your show today, let's keep fiscal stimulus out of income disruption as a separate part and look at long-term reforms. Millions of your viewers must have traveled in airports. And how many times do you recall landing at an Air Force airport where there are restrictions? Goa, which is a tourist hub of this country, go and ask the experts about the severe restrictions on flights, because the Indian Air Force also needs to fly. I'm not blaming the Air Force at all, But I'm saying the fact that you had almost 45% of Indian airspace not being available for civilian flights. I think we are a unique country. No other country, and I'm taking the names of the United States, Russia, China as three examples where there is very significant commercial, defense, and passenger aviation traffic, and there aren't such restrictions. Look at what happened even 10, 15 years back when, 20 years back when the US faced a crisis, airborne attack. So I think we are moving ahead with the time. We are making easier. We are actually doing ease of flying. So in terms of ease of doing business, to your point, and those who are saying hand-holding for civil aviation companies, there has been a lot of expectation. There has been a set of demands. We know that aviation fares will go up because airlines will only be able to fill their aircraft to 30, 33 or 50%. We don't know the final announcement. It was supposed to have happened 2-3 days back. It's been held back for the time being. I hope for the sake of the consumer, a mechanism is found to ensure that airfares don't go up, and we cannot have students, we cannot have other people who have taken to flying, and a generation of Indians which had never seen the inside of an aircraft has been able to fly in the last 10-15 years. We should not see that going back through high prices, and I would request the government to do whatever is necessary in the days ahead on that point.
Okay. Uday Vaid is joining us on the show. He's a tax expert. Uday, how do you see some of the big bang reforms announced, especially the highlight being the increase of FDI as far as defense sector is concerned? But there are a whole host of other measures. The intent is to make sure that there is some sort of competition within India, within companies, the private sector, but also within states. As far as attracting greater investment is concerned and making the environment more investment conducive.
Yes, absolutely. The focus of this entire initiative right now is self-reliant and not self-isolation. And we say the local is vocal. And here is a great example on the defense side, right? We have increased the FDI limit from 49 to 74%. So contrary to people who may be saying that, look, this will become internal centered and we'll do away with the FDI. No, the entire world is protecting their people and economy, and India is no exception in that sense. So we want to promote our own brands, own indigenization, the defense, in terms of procurement of the local spares and everything that Finance Minister spoke. But, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Okay. I'm not sure what the problem is there, but Mr. Vaid, I'm going to come back to you. Karan Bhasin is back with us. Karan, yes. Is this exactly what was expected? Are these the big bang reforms that the industry wanted across a whole host of sectors? Okay, I believe Karan is also not with us. But let's go across to Mr. Damania on the airlines question. Mr. Damania, you talked about how the rationalization of airspace is going to help as far as efficiency is concerned. But what about the prospect of making India an MRO hub? This is something that has not happened so far. This also adds to costs. And both in the civil aviation and the defense sector, India has now laid out a map to want to become an MRO hub.
See, Shivani, this has been going on for quite some time. In the Civil Aviation Policy 2016, there's a special section on MRO, and the government has been promoting this MRO since a long time, but it has not really happened up till now. I think large MROs coming up in India will be very good for the country. Today, just to give you an idea, the market size of the MRO industry is 130 billion all over the world. Okay. Today, India has 650 aircrafts. Most of the aircrafts go abroad for servicing and for MRO work. This MRO work can be done in India. Our labor is very cost effective, and we can become a big MRO hub, not only for the Indian airlines, but also for a lot of foreign airlines. A lot of foreign airlines aircrafts can come to India and they can be serviced here. The government is very serious about putting the MRO. Now, just to talk about the entire aviation sector as of today, I think things like opening the airspace, privatizing more airports, creating MRO facilities, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take substantial time. Right now, the problem is the airlines are in very, very bad shape. I'm sure you're aware of this, but Indian aviation was the fastest growing aviation market in the world. Every year we grew at about 18.6%, while China grew at about 11.5%. Now the aviation situation is really, really bad in India. And I think the entire industry was looking forward to some stimulus package which would give a direct injection to the aviation industry. But unfortunately, that has not happened. All these things are very good. I'm not saying the government's points are bad. They are excellent, but they will take a long time to come into effect. Today, what the aviation industry needs is a direct support system. Today, even with the present, we don't know when it will open up. Let's assume it opens up in June. It's not possible for all the 650 aircrafts to fly. The aircrafts will open up very slowly, 20%, 30%, 50%. So the aviation industry is to sustain maybe
No,
till
I get your
December,
point, and I don't think the government has shut the door on that. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was asked a question. She just said, and make what you make of it, that whenever they have to announce something, they will announce something. So let's wait on that. I'm not sure the door is shut on that, but I think the government has also said very clearly that instead of doles, they're going to help in creating an atmosphere better for business and of course providing credit and liquidity. I see that as a vein of the government measures.
Shivani, I want to come in. Please allow me to come in. Shivani, I want to say something. This is Akash Jindal. Allow me to come in.
Okay, I think Akash Jindal is with us. Yes, Akash, come in.
Yeah, see, I think it has been a great day today. For the past 4 days, we have been hearing the measures which the government has been taking to tackle COVID. But today is the best day. Today, I am so happy as an economist that great structural reforms have been announced. Whether it's for coal, whether it's for minerals, airspace, power distribution, I think great reforms have been announced. Let me tell you, with all responsibility as an economist, I can share a lot of data with you. This would bring a lot of investments into India. This would mean a lot of job opportunities in India. And end of the day, these would increase per capita income. Now, the best thing to start with is, as far as coal production is concerned, now, self-reliance in coal, that would be a huge jump, huge leap forward. Now, commercial mining of coal opened, it means a lot of investments getting into that field and a lot of young engineers, young MBAs getting jobs. Then when we talk about the defense production, now Make in India, a great policy being pursued by our Prime Minister. Now, defense Make in India production would be enhanced. What it would mean in simple terms, we'll be saving on lot of forex. See what has happened to the rupee-dollar equation. Dollar has been increasing. It has been creating havoc for our crude oil bill. Just 2 years ago, we had petrol, diesel going so high. So firstly, we'll be saving a lot on forex and import bill would be reduced and the Make in India target would be fulfilled. Then the corporatization of defense production would mean lot of efficiencies, lot of profitability, and going ahead, perhaps listing of those companies. Again, it would be a great leap forward. Then if we talk about airlines and aviation industries, now what happens is...
Okay, Akash, let's be brief. I'll come back to you on other things. I think Karan has been waiting for quite some time. Karan, the big question is, the root question is this the quantum leap that we were waiting for? The Prime Minister mentioned a quantum leap, not incremental change. Your take.
Absolutely, as I said, or as I have been saying over the last couple of days, one of the key things is that we have to appreciate that there has been a mindset shift, and that mindset shift was apparent when the FM said the words that regulations have been suffocating our industries for quite some time, and for after 91 we did a complete overall of our economy. We initiated reforms, but the regulatory regime that continued to exist was one that was initiated during the socialist era, which was during the time when we had an economy of scarcity. We had come a long way since then, but we had refused to overhaul our regulatory regime. And I see that over the last 2 weeks, it is precisely that the government has managed to do, whether it's the central government or respective state government. This is a package that is front loading a lot of reforms that, frankly, and all of us thought were not politically possible ever in India, and that is a very interesting proposition. I track a lot of emerging market economies, and I can tell you this, upfront, that no matter which economy I look at the moment, India is the most promising EM across the board, and I think that signals that somehow government also recognizes the importance of getting its economic policy back on track. Now the key question is that whether these policies will lead to growth in the short term or not. And that question, I would say that it's too quick to say that there are no demand side measures or there are no stimulus, etc. Liquidity enhancement also has an impact on demand, and there is one more announcement that I think is left. So we should reserve judgments regarding what will be its short term impact. But over the medium to long term, I'm very optimistic and bullish on India. I think it is going to outperform every major emerging market for quite some time.
All right. I do request all of you to stay with us. We do have to slip into a very short break, and on the other side, we'll take forward one by one some of the key sectors that have been spoken about today. Stay tuned.